What if the thrill ride you trusted to give you the biggest adrenaline rush of your life was capable of doing something far more serious? In July, 2 women rode the X2 roller coaster at Six Flags Magic Mountain in California just 6 days apart. Both later suffered severe brain hemorrhages, and both needed emergency brain surgery. One is still in a coma. The other is recovering from injuries that continue to affect her everyday life. The ride is X2, one of Six Flags Magic Mountain's most famous attractions. It's not a typical roller coaster. The train can reach roughly 80 miles per hour, while the seats rotate independently through 360 degrees as the coaster races through steep drops, twists and inversions. The entire experience lasts only about 2 minutes, but according to medical experts who treated the 2 women, the forces involved can produce a rapid acceleration-deceleration event capable of causing devastating trauma. The first woman was 40-year-old Pamela Guillen, who was visiting the park with her daughter for her daughter's birthday. After riding X2 on July 12, Guillen lost consciousness and was rushed for emergency treatment. Doctors discovered a severe subdural hematoma and brain compression, and surgeons had to remove part of her skull to relieve pressure on her brain. She survived, but her recovery has included headaches, brain fog and concerns about seizures. Then, just 6 days later, another woman, 25-year-old Naomi Greer Wilkinson, rode the same attraction with family members. She also lost consciousness and required emergency brain surgery. According to her family, she remains in a coma more than a month later, supported by a ventilator and feeding tube. And that timing is what makes this story so difficult to ignore. 2 severe brain injuries, connected to the same ride, in less than a week. But here's where the story gets much bigger. A CNN investigation found more than a dozen serious injuries and hospitalizations associated with X2 over nearly 2 decades, including riders who suffered permanent disabilities, fell into comas, or died. Internal records cited in court filings also show a long history of complaints involving head and neck injuries. An expert reviewing records for the family of one injured rider found at least 70 head and neck injury complaints connected to X2 during the 3 years before a fatal 2022 incident. And that 2022 case is now coming back into the spotlight. Christopher Hawley was 22 when he visited Magic Mountain with his younger brother and cousin. According to his family's lawsuit, the ride was extremely rough, and after getting off, Hawley complained that his head hurt, became unsteady and collapsed. He was taken to a hospital with a catastrophic brain injury and died the next day. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner ruled his death an accident caused by blunt head trauma from a park ride accident. There were earlier warnings, too. In 2014, teenager Selena O'Neill suffered a subdural hematoma after riding X2, according to court records. In 2020, Sheila Catarellos was hospitalized with a traumatic brain injury and multiple subdural hematomas, and in 2021, Lucy Alvarez was diagnosed with a traumatic subdural hematoma and later reported lasting memory, balance and migraine problems. The ride has also been linked to the 2010 death of Hilda Farias, although that case involved an underlying brain abnormality that medical experts suspected may have ruptured because of the ride's intensity. Now, there is an important point that shouldn't get lost in all of this. These reports and lawsuits do not, by themselves, establish that X2 is defective or that Six Flags violated the law. Six Flags has defended the ride in court filings, pointing to warning signs about inherent risks and arguing that the forces involved do not exceed what a normal rider can safely withstand. The company has declined to answer detailed questions about the broader history and has said only that the ride remains closed. And X2 is, in fact, still closed. Six Flags shut the attraction down on July 12, while California's Division of Occupational Safety and Health, or Cal/OSHA, continues an inspection into a reported July 5 incident involving a rider who was reportedly unconscious. Officials have not released a final explanation for the closure, and they say the inspection remains ongoing. Meanwhile, the legal battle surrounding Christopher Hawley's death is moving toward trial. His parents' case against Magic Mountain is scheduled for a jury trial beginning September 8, while the ride's manufacturer, SNS Worldwide, has separately sought court approval of a proposed settlement with the Hawley family. That means the coming weeks could bring even more scrutiny to what happened on X2, what Six Flags knew, and whether the ride's safety record should have triggered stronger action much earlier. For the families involved, though, this isn't really about roller coaster statistics or legal arguments. It's about people who went to a theme park expecting a few minutes of adrenaline and ended up facing brain surgery, lifelong rehabilitation, or, in Christopher Hawley's case, a loss that his family says can never be repaired. The biggest question now isn't whether X2 is thrilling. Everyone already knows it is. The real question is whether the level of risk was ever fully understood, and whether the warnings came too late for the people who were hurt. If you found this update helpful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to Prime Wire, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest news. Thanks for watching.